afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the September 23rd meeting of the Rotary Club in Milledgeville. Everybody, please silence your cell phones as you stand up, and I'm going to ask Laura Thompson to come up and be our Rotarian of the day.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Let us bow our heads. Thank you, Lord, for this gorgeous day and this food that we have every day while so many others go without. Let us be grateful for that and our friends of Rotary and continue to do good in the community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Another thing we think we should do first.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun? All right, as you are having a seat, reach into your pockets and pull out your change and your dollar bills, your 10s and 20s, and pop them in the blue buckets. The CART Fund for Alzheimer's Research. Last week, we had $21. I feel like that's like a running theme. We've had $21 for several weeks, but can I get two people to match to do $10 each? Anyone going once? Derek? Frank? All right, great. All right, Greg, we ready?
Hang on one second.
Okay. Well, I will welcome our Assistant Governor, Jan Horton. Thank you for being with us today. And we were supposed to hear from the district governor today, but that is going to be at a later date. So we will hear from one of our fellow Rotarians, TBD. Ready?
Am I up?
You're up.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to welcome Keith's guest, Natalie Linden. Natalie, did I pronounce your last name right? Or,
Linda.
Welcome. Okay, Natalie, we have a drawing every week. I'm going to ask you to pick the winning ticket. Thank you. 172.
Hey, it's because you said yes to me asking you to be your Rotarian of the day. You were rewarded.
7 of clubs. And here's your $10 for playing.
Great. Thanks, Greg. We have, I think Lynn Chandler has an announcement. Yes.
Thank you. On your table, there's a sign-up sheet. For those of you that may be new, each year prior to the pandemic, the Rotary Club would put together baskets for needy families and distribute those. This year, we're going to be able to go forward with that. We're going to be putting together 75 baskets, distribute those to needy families. Many of you have already signed up for a donation for that. And it's one of the projects the club does each year. On your table, you'll see a sign-up sheet. You'll fill that out and leave it on the table. I'll pick it up after the meeting. And then Dr. Price will be sending out reminders to remind everybody about it. But this will be the group that will go to Lakeview Primary, Lakeview Academy, to no legal rig. And we'll assemble the boxes, and then distribute to the families on that day. For service Thanksgiving meal. It's a great project. It's something that Rotary has done for several years. So be sure and sign up today. Volunteer. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to put the boxes together. And count as a makeup. I think I have the authority to say that. And so go ahead and sign up today. And I'll pick these up at the end of the meeting.
Is this to contribute money to, or just?
No, if you're contributing money. There was a sign-up sheet went around a couple of weeks ago. And Dr. Price will send that out again later. Okay. She's not here today, but she'll send that out. $75 per basket. For those that are listening by Zoom,
I'll let them know.
they can email Dr. Price their attention.
So those who are online, I'm getting a thumbs up. You heard $75 if you want to contribute to the Thanksgiving baskets. And if you want to sign up, you can email Dr. Price to donate money. And then if you want to sign up to help stuff the baskets, it's on the morning of November 20th at the former Eagle Ridge. You heard all the things. Great. Okay. Are there, oh, and you get a makeup for stuffing baskets. All right. Any other announcements? Any prayer requests? I don't think William's here, but anybody? Well, say it.
Is Ed Hall in the hospital? I heard that at church. It was in our church newsletter. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so prayers for Ed. I'm not aware of that, but can follow up with that. No other announcements? All right, we have 3 inductions today. So I'm going to ask Billy Bob Breeden, Frederick Ellington, and Dr. Steve Greer to come forward, and their sponsors, if they will, if they're here, and if they will come forward as well. All right, fellow Rotarians, it is my privilege and pleasure today to welcome into membership these 3 young men. You have been approved for membership in the Rotary Club of Milledgeville because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, dedicated to the ideals of Rotary and willing to do your share in translating these ideals into action. You've agreed to accept the obligations of membership and agreed to obey this club's constitution and bylaws. I charge you to judge yourself by the Rotary 4-way test in your everyday walk. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? You will find that Rotary is not just another club, it is a way of life. We look forward to seeing what you will bring to this club to impact our community and our world. Always remember Rotary's motto, service above self. So congratulations, you're at this moment one of the newest Rotarians in the world and have become part of a worldwide family of over 1.2 million members. Fellow Rotarians, please stand and help me welcome these gentlemen. Crystal will be giving you each your pin and your certificate. And can somebody take a picture? And can y'all all get on one side? And I don't want to be in the picture. I know, you can't see me. Wendell, you want to do happy dollars? Okay. Did you get a picture, Laura? Great. All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Wendell. I caught you getting your food.
Yeah, man. Dig in those pocketbooks, talk about some positive stuff here. All right. So, let's see. All right, I got a 5 spot here to get us started, man. We got a beautiful day. Fall's upon us.
Yes.
The weather is broken, it looks like. You know, it hasn't been quite as hot as it this year normally. So beautiful day. I got to see my grandbaby this past weekend. It was absolutely awesome.
Oh.
And man, life is good. So let's share some positive love here today, and give us something to remember. Okay, I'm Wendell Staten, and tell us who you are, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right, who we got? Give me something. Here we go. I like it. I like it. I like it right here. Yeah. All right. Tell us who you are.
I'm Jan Ford, and I actually
actually belong to Sandwichville, but I feel like I'm actually a member here. I come here so often. I'm your assistant governor, and I'm just glad to be here.
Yay.
Who else we got?
So, Tim Church. And just want to say, really grateful.
Yeah.
She's actually getting checked at the doctor today.
Oh, good.
She said she got out.
Yeah, great.
Good, thank you so much. Thank you. There we go, all right, yes.
Our newest member.
Yes.
How's everybody doing this afternoon?
Great.
Doing well.
My name is Frederick Ellington, work here at Central State Hospital locally. Just wanted to take the time to introduce myself, but also give my passion for joining Rotary. At 17 years old, I joined the military, and it was the first time I ever got a chance to really serve. And it was a very good feeling. It gave me purpose. And it's something that I love to do. When I was invited to Rotary, by Mr. Gilbert here, Sutton here, Junior, he told me what the club was about, and I saw it as a vessel to continue my service to my community. And I'm just glad to be able to serve.
Man, we tell you. My service better, I appreciate your military, man.
Sure.
That's why, the reason we're able to lay right here and not everybody shooting stuff at us, because you guys, it is appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes, yes. Who else we got? Somebody else positive on this side, come on now, somebody walking over here, somebody help me out here. Got something. I know, I'm broke today. I told you now, when I bring my new boss out here, I want money flying up here. You saving up for it.
Yeah.
That's it. That was a good one to end
Thank you,
on, though,
thank you.
so.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks, Wendell.
All right, all right.
All right. Without further ado, the one, the only Keith Barlow.
Yay, yay me. Yeah, I guess I should kind of do this. Yeah, knock off the bucket. Anyway, yeah, thanks to the district governor for having to move. Then Aaron gets to call me and say, hey, Keith, will you do the presentation or the program on Thursday? Yay. But I was kind of torn. So I came in and that table back there said they already have 85 questions for me. This table right here said, keep it short. So I don't know what to do. I probably need to do both, keep it short so that we can get the 85 questions in. But anyway, I will, I have some prepared comments. Oh, let me introduce, sorry. I know that Greg introduced Natalie, but Natalie, just to let you know who she is, she's the editor of the newspaper, okay? So if you're not familiar with what a publisher is and what an editor is, the editor is in charge of the content of the newspaper. So if you don't like anything about the content, go past the publisher and go to the editor. And so she's the one to complain. If you like the content, then you can go over the editor and go to the publisher and say, hey, I really like the content. So, but anyway, for those of you who don't know, Keith Barlow, and I have my wife is Paige, and she's a art teacher at Georgia Military Prep. And where one of our newest members is her boss. She's doing a great job, isn't she? And then I have Brandon, who is a senior at GMC, and then Kevin, who has 5 more classes and will graduate with an accounting degree at University of North Georgia. So anyway, so I graduated from Georgia College quite some time ago. Paige and I, when Paige and I were dating, we were both in college, we were like, we're getting the heck out of Milledgeville. Milledgeville has nothing for us. We're moving to bigger and better places than Milledgeville. Well, you can see how that's done. It hasn't happened, but it's been good. Milledgeville's been good to us. Milledgeville's been good to us through our family, where we live, our church, and all this kind of stuff. So we're very excited. At the time I was going to college, I worked at Exchange Bank. And at that time, I was like, I want to do something different. I didn't have like that position at Exchange Bank where I was going to move up. So I was like, let me find something. Well, I heard that there was a graphic artist position available at the Union Recorder. Well, when I was, if you know Wister Ritchie, he worked at Exchange Bank with me. And he and I had a graphic business on the side, believe it or not. And we would do flyers and marketing stuff for some folks in town. And we would design little flyers that we would put over urinals. So we would sell ads and put them over the urinals in some of the places in town. So I mean, so that's how I got my job. But anyway, so so I was heading back from Warner Robins one day because I was in the reserves, and so I stopped by there and they were like, "Oh yeah, we need somebody quickly." So I got the job as a graphic designer. I did join the Union Recorder 30 years ago, August 30 years ago, so just about this same time. Back then, we were sitting there and we had layout tables, so we're printing out the text on pages, and we would have to cut them, throw them through the waxer. We'd have to wax them down and then put the lines between them. If there was color photos, we'd have to take the color photos and put them in the machine and then print out 4 colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. For anybody that doesn't know, you can make any color that you want with cyan, magenta, yellow, black. So that's how it was. It was very mechanical. So, I mean, the pre-press was the same way. So pre-press, we had this large camera. And when I say a large camera, and they would take a picture of that, and then a negative would come out, and then you would have to burn a plate, and then you would have to put it on the press. Then all of a sudden we went from going straight to taking a picture, we went straight to an image setter, which had film. Then now we're straight to plate. Believe it or not, we still print the newspaper in Milledgeville. So we still have a printing press there in our location. A lot of people are surprised. Little bitty Union Recorder still prints our the newspaper here. Anytime you want to come by, if you like me, ask for me. If you like Natalie better, ask for Natalie. Either one of us will sit there and take you through a tour. And it is actually kind of interesting because you can sit there and you can see this big press from the 1960s. And it's, I mean, so it's pretty cool. After we started looking at going to pagination, actually the Union Recorder was one of the first newspapers to become fully paginated, believe it or not, but we were already on Macintosh computers. So we already had our advertising reps would sit there and building ads and then printing them out and then wax paper, putting them up. So we already had experience with the Macs. So it was pretty simple for us to kind of learn how to paginate. So instead of doing layout tables, you're on a Macintosh. So you put your text in text boxes, you put your photos in photo boxes, and you move from there. And what you see on the computer is exactly what you see in the paper the next day. So we were one of the first ones to go fully paginated. I'll stop that and I'll tell you one of my favorite newspaper stories, okay? So when I was at the newspaper in the early 90s, my dad called me up and said, "Let me tell you what just happened to me." So he was living in Thomasville, Georgia. And so he was still getting the newspaper in Cairo, from Cairo. Well, he was from Cairo. And he saw this ad in the newspaper and said, "If you can prove that you're related to X," and it was a person's name, "then I have something for you." So my dad said, "Wow, that's my mom." So he called the lady and said, "Hey, that's my mom." Well, when my grandmother had died, she had this box of things and told her friend, "When I die, throw all that stuff away." Well, she didn't throw it away. So in it, there was a obit from my great-great-great-grandfather. And back then, it said, "The proud grand oak, old oak of the forest has swayed, tottered, fall, the beard." That's how they spoke back then, and I mean, I kind of wish we'd do it today because it's kind of neat. It's a word thing, right, Natalie? So, but it goes on to say that his first occupation was in the printer's trade. Let's see, where am I? Having been the publisher of a newspaper in Milledgeville, Georgia. So my great-great-great-grand, and I had no idea that he was the publisher of a newspaper in Milledgeville, Georgia, but that was, So immediately, what did I do? I went to the newspaper, and if anybody remembers Cecil Bentley, he was the publisher here. He was sitting in his office, and I walked in, I said, Well, Cecil, it's fate that I'm going to become the publisher of the newspaper because it's in my blood. So anyway, that's kind of a cool little story that I like to tell people. Newspapers have always been important to communities and important to the history they provide. You can sit there and you can do a lot of searches on newspapers. You can sit there and either go through it, you can sit there and you can go to the newspaper. We have bound copies there. You can go through it and do a little bit of research of what was going on 100 years ago, 20 years ago, or whatever. But also, thanks to the Digital Library of Georgia, and it's georgiahistoricalnewspapers.galileo.edu. But on that site, you can sit there and you can look. They've digitized all these newspapers throughout the state of Georgia. So you can look at Milledgeville and you can see all the newspapers that have been in Milledgeville. You can look at Albany, you can look at, so you can look at all these towns and you can actually do a search. So when I found out about that and I found out about my ancestor, you can actually search him up, Bowling Hall Robinson III. You can sit there and search his name, and every place where his name shows up in any newspaper, it's going to sit there and pop up. So it's pretty cool. It's searchable, and so you can look at it that way. Just to give you a short history of the Union Recorder, Southern Recorder was 1820, Federal Union was 1830, and they combined in 1872. In that just that little bit of time, anybody have a guess how many newspapers there were in the city of Milledgeville? It's like 14 newspapers in that time. Now, you know that we were the state capital, but there was just a lot of newspapers that were coming around, and that's what was happening at that time. So if you ever pay attention to the newspaper up at the very top, it does say that we're the oldest continuously published newspaper in the state of Georgia, which we are. And we've been publishing for 200 plus years. We turned 200 years old last year, and we had a party, and the chamber came and helped us, and some of y'all were here or there, and it was a good time. So, but the oldest continuously published newspaper. Augusta is actually the oldest newspaper, but we've continuously published. The word is that, when Sherman came into town, everybody was kind of scurrying around, and what they did is they hid the presses in the woods, and they continued to publish the Union Recorder during that time. So that's just kind of neat. Obviously, we were for one day a week, and then in 1979 we started publishing Wednesdays and Fridays, and then in 1982 we started publishing Tuesday through Saturday. And then y'all know what happened in April of last year, but I'll get into that in just a little bit. We did change a little bit more. So I've seen a lot of different changes, both internationally, globally, locally in newspapers. Some people have a perception that the newspaper is dying. Some are and some aren't. Some are closing down, some aren't closing down. I will tell you this, the ones that aren't making changes with what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the industry, the ones that aren't making changes, those are the ones that aren't going to last. Hopefully, we're making changes here that may not all be favorable to you guys, but hopefully we're making decisions that will keep us in business for many years to come, maybe 200 more years. In reality, the strength of the small newspaper is local coverage. That's from news to sports to entertainment. Community newspapers have it up on other media. We have more feet on the ground in Milledgeville than your TV stations or your other outlets and that kind of stuff. So we have it up on them. We anywhere from crime to local schools to local government. Readers can rely on our newspaper. Sometimes I struggle when people compare us and put us in the same, even the same sentence as some of the national TV stations and stuff like that. I don't think we're in that. A lot of them opinions. Thanks to our great editor, we try to keep the opinions out of our stories. The opinion page, obviously we put opinions on the opinion page, but we try not to put opinions in our stories. And I do think that Natalie does a good job with that. Let's see here. over the last 12 or 13 years, big changes. You know, and that's what I'm going to talk about a good bit today is some of the changes. Give you an example. In 2006, we had 56 employees. Today, we have 15 employees. So that gives you an idea of the magnitude of the losses of employees and probably the magnitude of losses in revenue that we've seen over the last 12 or 13 years. But during that time, we did most of that through attrition. So when someone would leave, we would kind of make a decision. Hey, do we need to replace that person, or do we need to, kind of distribute the duties? I'm sure a lot of businesses in here have done that also. During that time, I think we had furloughed one person. And then last year with the pandemic, we had to furlough 3 people. So before that, we had, we were almost up to 20. Let's see here. The second largest expense, obviously the largest expense is personnel. Second largest expense is newsprint, obviously. And up until last April, we were printing Tuesday through Saturday. Well, because of the pandemic, because of the revenue shortages and that kind of stuff, we did make the decision to go from 5 days to 3 days. But I'll tell you, we've tried to sit there and continue the number of stories. I mean, we didn't drop the reporters and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to maintain the same number of content, the stories and that kind of stuff, but the pages have kind of gone down. Just like a lot of businesses, the pandemic was kind of tough for us. Advertising revenues, which were already at a decline, continued to decline. But we've made some adjustments here and there. Let's see here. Last year, when we went from 5 to 3, a lot of people don't know this, but so we were publishing 5 days a week. Today, we publish 6 days a week, believe it or not. Okay, but 3 of them are digital and 3 of them are print. So if you're a subscriber, you have access to all of this because it's more of a total audience kind of subscription, but we publish on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday print, and then we publish Monday, Thursday, and Friday, just an e-edition. So if you are a subscriber, you get that for free. So if you don't know, then maybe next week I'll bring my circulation manager. I'm just teasing, you can call me. But you have that, and so we're publishing 6 days a week. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't take away from our readers, even though we did take away 2 published print days. I didn't want to take away everything. So we still publish. We still have an app. We still have our website. We still have Facebook that kind of encourages people to go to our website, or we think that probably a lot of our readers and our subscribers rather are on Facebook. So it encourages them, hey, this is what's happening, and it takes them to our website. We don't look at it differently. I mean, we don't look at print one way and then digital the other way. In November of 2018, we made the decision to go to mail distribution. I tell people all the time, worst decision I've ever made in my whole career. That was a bad decision, but that was something to where a lot of people were doing that, and they were like, oh yeah, well, it's great, and you don't have to worry about carriers and all this kind of stuff. Well, you don't have to worry about carriers. Nobody here works at the post office, right? Because I don't want to get eggs thrown at me, but you don't have to deal with carriers, but you do have to deal with the U.S. Post Office. And believe it or not, we were having our problems with carriers. What do you think the U.S. Post Office has problems with? They have problems with their carriers also. So instead of having problems with the carriers and fixing it myself, I'm with the U.S. Post Office and trying to fix it myself with the U.S. That's not going to happen. So we're no different than, if you don't get your mail or something, you're just complaining to the post office. We're doing the exact same thing, but we're trying to work with them and see how we can get that squared away. But like I said, that was one of the worst decisions I made. Now I will say this, some of our sister newspapers down in South Georgia are trying to bring back carrier because they went to mail too, trying to bring it back in the cities. Okay, so I'm trying to watch them and see how they're doing, see if it works. And I don't know, maybe something we can bring back in Milledgeville, but we'll see what happens there. Let's see here. I only have 17 more pages. Each time we make a decision like this, obviously it hits us with our subscription base. So we might lose, anywhere from 8 to 10% every time we make one of these big decisions. But what we're trying to do is, like I said at the beginning, the newspapers that aren't making the decisions and changing with the times are not going to be here in the future, in my opinion. The people that are making decisions and making the hard decisions and going down on the page, going down on the days we publish, they're sitting there and they're doing what they need to do. A lot of newspapers, oh gosh, they're $400 a year now. I mean, so their decision is to just keep jacking their subscriptions rates like astronomical. I can tell you a story. There's a newspaper that's just southwest of here. Just somewhere close down there. My parents called me the other day. They said, Keith, out of the last 22 days, how many newspapers do you think we've received? And they publish 6 days a week. And I said, 22 days? I don't know. You've received 18? They've received 1 in the last 22 days. I'm not talking bad about it, but I'm just saying we're all in the same boat. We're all having challenges. But anyway, so that's a challenge. One thing that, and our single copy. So we have subscribers and then we have single copy. Racks have been cut in half. Dealers, which is in Dollar General and that kind of stuff, has doubled. So it's people that are single copy, they're making a difference. There's probably a lot of people don't have the 75 cents to put in, so they go inside and they purchase it in the businesses. Another thing we've tried to do, not just not with subscribers, but with advertising. So we're trying to change things with advertising too, and we're having to offer a lot of other things. If you're familiar with the Unit Recorder, we have the Milledgeville Scene, Sandersville Scene, Lake Oconee Scene, Health Directory. We just created 2 magazines last year, Around the Lakes, On the Road. So you can see that we're trying to, diversify in our marketing offerings to folks also. In this room here, I have several customers of ours that do digital advertising with me. So digital advertising, we can offer digital advertising where we can, it's amazing. I can sit there and I can target this room right here. And as long as you have your phone on and you have your services turned on, your location services, I can capture you and then I could start sending you ads for the next 30 days. So that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can't turn it off. And some people say, oh, Keith, you can't do me because I don't have my location services turned on. Trust me, if you have a cell phone, your location services is turned on at least one of your apps that's in there. But anyway, that's just something else that we're offering. And what are we trying to do? Keep our revenues up. That's simple. It's just trying to keep our revenues up, but we're hoping that we're helping those businesses that we have this offering to. We also have all of our special sections, or golf section, or NCAA. We also have some of the great interactive products. The men's March Madness, women's March Madness, and my absolute favorite, and some of you are participating, the college football pick'em. So that's kind of fun to sit there and do. And like I said, several of you are in here doing that. We also own the Lake Oconee Breeze, and and that's that's a tabloid that's produced in the Lake Oconee market. Let's see here. One other thing about content, we are producing content, and we're putting it out on the website, 7 days a week. So instead of producing 5 days a week, we're 7 days a week. We're constantly looking at ways to improve the content of the paper. We're adding a few new columns. If you like Brian Rinko at Allied Arts, you're going to like that. If you don't like him, I'm just teasing. Everybody likes Brian. Carly Schulte is going to be starting a column here soon. Milledgeville Main Street. Tom Toney's column is coming back. So we're trying to, keep up our columnists and keep that going. Last paragraph, as you can see, I've seen a lot of changes in the last 30 years. I always look at every change or every challenge as, is this an opportunity to do something better? How can we do something better? And I truly try to do that. The staff at the Union Recorder and we try to produce the best newspaper that we possibly can for the community. And I think we're successful, but I might be a little bit biased. And I'll open it up for questions. Revenue obviously is advertising and subscriptions. So advertising is still the main part of our revenue stream. And so people like you, we appreciate you, Merritt. Percentage wise, there's a % here and a % here. Another question? Yeah, I'm just teasing, but Merritt, I can mess with Merritt because he actually does, his business does support us, and we very much appreciate Merritt Massey Insurance. But we couldn't do this, and this was probably in there somewhere that I missed, but we couldn't do what we do without readers, and we couldn't do it without businesses supporting us. So I tell people all the time, when you advertise with us, you're doing two things. One, hopefully you're marketing your business. Hopefully we can do something good for you. And then the second thing, you are supporting the local community newspaper. So we appreciate everything. And when you are a subscriber, you put the 75 cents in there, then you're supporting us also. So we appreciate it. Yes, Greg.
Mentioned the service where you can search by name in newspaper in Georgia.
Yes.
What was that?
That was GA Historic Newspapers.galileo.edu. And it really is neat. And when you go there, you might as well go ahead and think, I'm going to spend some time here, because you're going to be like, oh, wait, my grandfather's name is, and then you're going to start seeing it. I mean, you can even see things like maybe your ancestor got into a knife fight because someone disagreed with their editorial stuff. I'm not saying that happened, but you might could find something like that in there. So, but it is super cool. Mr. Chandler, go ahead and ask me whatever you want.
No, that's the job.
Hey, Keith.
Yes.
Who owns the newspaper?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
board or
question.
something, or the family, or do you own it? You know what I'm saying?
I don't own it, but I didn't, this was in there somewhere too, but I used to own the Baldwin Bulletin, and I owned it for a couple of years. But anyway, no, the Union Recorder is owned by CNHI out of Montgomery, Alabama, and we own a lot of newspapers. It's one of the largest newspaper companies, but it's just smaller newspapers.
Okay.
And so they're out of Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
We used to be owned by Knight Ridder,
Right.
and then they sold us to CNHI back in 1997, and we've been owned by CNHI for now. It's an interesting story too. I'm doing okay, but CNHI, the money for CNHI came from Alabama's teachers retirement system. So I always tell people that we're actually owned by the teachers retirement system, and you're thinking, wow, why would the Alabama teachers retirement system invest in a newspaper company? And I think it's just because newspapers are awesome, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. All right. That table back there, Jim? Or was Lynn talking to you? Gotcha. All right, well, listen, if you have any questions for content, there's Natalie. And then if you have any questions for me, you know where to find me, so.
Thank you, Keith. That was really interesting. You did a good job. And thanks, Natalie, for accompanying him. Anything you want to add?
Yeah.
I think he covered it.
Okay, good. Well, we appreciate you filling in and appreciate Jan coming and joining us today, and hope to see the district governor very soon. Any other announcements? Hope y'all all come to business after hours this evening. It's at Taylor's Cove, 5:30. Taylor's Cove is the old Jacksons, old Chobies, all that thing. So nothing else? All right, have a great week. And